In the far reaches of the Milky Way, a small research station floated quietly above the glowing clouds of Nebula 94. Inside that station, a team of alien scientists studied worlds, planets marked as uninhabitable, deadly, or long destroyed. Their job was to catalog the strange corners of the galaxy, but none of them ever expected to find something truly impossible. The lead scientist, Relin Thar, stood before a massive holographic screen. She was from a gentle aquatic species called the Dralin, known for their calm nature and curiosity. Her long silver eyes reflected the image of a blue and green planet spinning slowly in the darkness. Planet ID, Sol 3, she read aloud. Classification, DEATHWORLD, Category 14. The room fell silent. Even the buzzing sound of scanners seemed to pause. One of the assistants, a tall insectoid being named Crix, tilted his head. Class 14? That can't be right. The council only recorded up to Class 12. Relin nodded slowly. Yes, but the data fits. The gravity is nearly twice the galactic standard. The atmosphere is full of reactive gases. The weather shifts violently. There are thousands of active volcanoes. Radiation levels are high. And look, she pointed to the screen. This planet has over 70% liquid surface. Salt water. It's corrosive for most known life forms. Another scientist, Vetra, a bird-like being with soft blue feathers, whistled in disbelief. How could anything survive there? Relin zoomed in. That's what we must find out. The team began scanning deeper into the planet's data stream. Layers of atmosphere, geological maps, and temperature patterns flickered on the holographic display. Then something strange appeared. Steady power readings, high-frequency transmissions, and repeating patterns in the radio waves. Crix leaned forward. That looks like technology. Relin froze. No, that's impossible. This planet was abandoned millions of years ago. Vetra adjusted the scanners again, and the image became clearer. There were lights, tiny shining dots scattered across the dark side of the planet. They were too organized to be natural. They formed patterns, lines, clusters, even geometric shapes. Those are cities, Vetra whispered. There's civilization down there. The room filled with quiet gasps. For centuries, the Galactic Union had believed no intelligent life could exist on a death world above Class 10. Anything higher was pure chaos. A world too unstable, too aggressive, too dangerous for life. Yet here it was, orbiting peacefully around a yellow sun, shining like a jewel of contradiction. Relin felt her heart race, though her species had evolved in tranquil oceans where nothing ever hurried. Prepare the long-range probe, she ordered. We need confirmation. Within minutes, a small silver drone launched from the research station, vanishing into a hyperspace ripple. It emerged above Sol 3, above the planet humans called Earth. Down below, Earth continued its day as usual. Blue oceans rolled, green forests stretched far, and bright lights glowed in cities scattered across the surface. From space, it looked peaceful. From the scanner's data, it looked impossible. The probe descended lower and sent back live images. The researchers gathered around the screen in silence. They saw machines moving along shining roads, towers reaching for the clouds, flying vehicles crossing the skies, and beings, millions of them, walking, talking, building, smiling. They are alive, Crix said quietly. They're thriving. Relin could barely speak. But how? They spent the next few days collecting information, sending more probes, and listening to Earth's broadcasts. The humans seemed to communicate endlessly, through sound, light, and data. Their transmissions covered music, stories, news, and messages sent across continents. Relin played one of the recordings through the lab speakers. A cheerful human voice spoke in a strange but rhythmic tone. Welcome to the World News Network. The language was foreign yet filled with energy. These beings are not just surviving, Relin murmured. They're celebrating their existence. The others looked at her, confused. Celebrating? Vetra asked. Yes, Relin said softly. Listen to their sounds. They laugh, they sing, they share ideas. They are not afraid of their world. Crix shook his head. How could they not be? Their storms are powerful enough to destroy entire settlements. Their planet experiences earthquakes, floods, fires, freezing poles, deserts, and more. Relin smiled faintly. Maybe fear is what taught them to adapt. Weeks passed. The research team continued their silent observation of Earth, now nicknamed Project Impossible. Every day brought new surprises. The humans seemed to love challenges. They built homes in deserts, stations under the sea, and colonies in orbit. They studied their own planet like explorers who refused to give up. Relyn's admiration grew with each discovery. She found that humans had written stories about courage, invented machines to reach their moon, and even dreamed of touching other stars. These people, she said during one meeting, are unlike any species the Union has ever recorded. Vetra nodded. They are unpredictable, yes, but also brilliant. Their art, their science, it's emotional. They seem to put feeling into everything. Crix wasn't convinced. Or maybe they are reckless. Living on such a planet must make them unstable. Relyn looked at the images again. Children playing under rain, people building rockets, scientists studying storms instead of hiding from them. No, she said quietly. They are strong, not because their world is easy, but because it isn't. Soon the data reached the Galactic Council. The reaction was immediate. 100 species gathered in the Great Chamber, their holograms glowing across the vast hall. The council speaker, a wise being with skin like polished crystal, listened as Relyn presented her report. She showed them pictures of mountains, cities, and oceans. She described the harsh gravity and unstable climate. She spoke about the humans, how they adapted, learned, and thrived despite impossible odds. When she finished, the hall was silent. Then the speaker said, "You are certain these beings evolved on that world?" "Yes, Speaker," Relyn replied. "The genetic markers are native. They belong to Sol 3. The speaker's light dimmed slightly. Then the galaxy has witnessed a miracle. Back on the station, Relyn sat by the viewing window, staring at the blue planet glowing in the distance. The stars shimmered around it, but her eyes stayed fixed on Earth. To her, it was more than a discovery. It was a reminder of something the galaxy had forgotten, that life could rise from struggle, that hope could grow even in chaos. She recorded a private note in her logbook that night. Observation 241, species designation human, planetary classification DEATHWORLD class 14. Conclusion, not a world of death, but a world of defiance. They do not see danger as an end, they see it as a beginning. The next morning, Relyn's assistant approached her. "The council approved your request," Crix said. "They want us to begin preparations for a closer observation mission. They're sending you as the lead researcher." Relyn's heart fluttered with both excitement and worry. "We're going to their world?" "Yes, the humans will soon see us." She looked again at the blue planet. It shone with quiet beauty, but now she understood that its beauty was more than just color. It was resilience, carved by storms and time. For a long moment, she watched Earth turning slowly, sunlight glinting off its oceans. "A Class 14 death world," she whispered. "And yet they call it home." Crix tilted his head. "Why would anyone live there when the galaxy has safer worlds?" Relyn smiled. Maybe safety was never what they wanted. As the research ship prepared for launch, Relyn wrote her final report for Part 1 of the mission. Her words carried both awe and curiosity. Every known species runs from hardship, but humans walk toward it. They do not adapt because their world is kind, but because it is not. Their strength is not in their weapons or their numbers, but in their spirit. I believe we are not studying survivors. We are studying dreamers. The engines hummed as the ship slowly turned toward the small blue planet in the distance. The stars around it seemed to bow in quiet respect. Far below, on Earth, unaware of the watching eyes above, humanity continued doing what it always did, building, dreaming, and reaching for the unknown. And for the first time in galactic history, someone was watching not with fear, but with admiration. The Galactic Union research vessel Aurora's path glided silently toward the blue planet. Its polished silver hull reflected the stars, while inside a quiet excitement filled the air. Every scientist aboard knew they were about to witness history. No one had ever set eyes on a world like this before, a planet where life had conquered chaos. Dr. Relyn Thar, now the mission's lead researcher, stood by the observation window. Her large silver eyes shimmered as Earth came into full view. The clouds swirled like white paint over blue oceans, and land masses stretched in greens and golds. It was beautiful, wild, unpredictable, and alive. Her assistant Crix buzzed softly beside her, his insect-like antennae twitching. We are entering orbit, Doctor. Scanners are active. Radiation levels are high but manageable. Good, Relin said calmly. Keep us hidden. We must observe before making contact. The ship settled into a silent orbit on the dark side of Earth. From their vantage point, the planet looked peaceful, but Relin knew peace here was different. It was built through struggle, not luck. Observations from above hours turned into days as the Aurora's path observed the human world. The crew watched as cities glowed like constellations across the night. They saw tiny moving lights and vehicles, forming shining rivers on dark surfaces. They watched aircraft rise through thick storms, satellites orbiting above, and rockets piercing the sky. It's incredible, whispered Vetra, the feathered scientist. They are not afraid of the storms. They fly straight through them. Relin nodded, amazed. They've made the impossible routine. Crix clicked his mandibles softly. But how do they survive their own inventions? I have seen them build machines that explode, tools that create lightning, and energy that could destroy them. Relin gave a small smile. Because they learn faster than they fear. Understanding humanity, every new scan revealed more questions. Humans had built vast communication networks, waves of information circling their planet every second. They spoke in thousands of languages, yet somehow understood each other through symbols, emotion, and tone. One evening, the team listened to a broadcast, a piece of human music. The notes rose and fell with power and emotion. None of the scientists had ever heard anything like it. Vetra's feathers fluffed in wonder. What is this sound? It feels warm, Relin explained softly. It's music. They use it to share feelings, to remember, to hope. The aliens didn't have music on their homeworlds. To them it was strange, creating beauty without purpose. Yet as they listened, even Crix felt something stir inside him. Maybe, he said thoughtfully, this is how they stay sane on such a dangerous world. Relin nodded. Maybe this is how they turn chaos into peace. The debate as the days passed, a message arrived from the Galactic Council. It was short but clear. Initiate first contact protocol at your discretion. Proceed with extreme caution. Relin gathered her team in the main chamber. The soft hum of the ship filled the silence between them. Friends, she began. The Council fears this species may be unstable. They believe any beings from a Class 14 death world must be aggressive or unpredictable. They want us to test carefully before revealing ourselves. Crix raised one claw. And you? What do you believe? Relin looked back at the holographic projection of Earth. I believe they are curious, just like us, but their curiosity burns brighter. Vetra tilted her head. Then what is our first step? Relin smiled faintly. We start with something simple. We send a signal, one that says hello. The signal that night, the Aurora's path aimed a gentle beam of light toward one of Earth's satellites. The signal was soft, mathematical, universal, a message of peace and curiosity. On Earth, deep within a human observatory, scientists noticed a strange pattern on their screens. It wasn't random. It wasn't natural. It was too perfect. Within hours, the world's space agencies were buzzing with questions. Who sent the signal? Where did it come from? And what did it mean? But humans, being humans, didn't panic. They wondered. They debated. They hoped. Television networks shared the discovery. Newspapers wrote headlines like, "Is someone saying hello?" And the universe answers back. People around the world gathered under the stars that night watching, waiting. Relin's crew watched the humans' reaction in awe. They are not frightened, Vetra said softly. They are excited? Yes, Relin replied. Because for them, every unknown is an adventure. First visual contact a few days later, Relin decided to move closer. The Aurora's path descended into the upper layers of the atmosphere, hidden behind clouds. Their sensors captured clearer images, human faces, buildings, ships on the sea, planes in the sky. Crix's eyes widened as he watched children playing in rain. Look at them. They enjoy storms? Relin smiled. Yes, they find joy even in things that frighten others. Vetra added, and they care for one another. I've seen them help strangers, share food, protect the weak. No other Deathworld species would do that. Relin felt a deep respect grow within her. They have learned the hardest lesson, to be kind in a harsh world. The meeting plan eventually, Relin received the Council's approval for a limited landing, only to observe, not to reveal. But Relin had other plans. She believed that hiding would only create fear once humans found out. So she sent a message, this time directly to Earth's scientists. The message was simple, clear, and kind. We come in peace. We wish to learn. We admire your strength. The signal was received by a research team in South America, led by Dr. Elena Vargas, an astronomer known for her calm nature and open mind. When she read the message, her heart raced. This isn't a hoax, she whispered. Someone, or something, is talking to us. Her team spent hours decoding the message, verifying its origin. The coordinates pointed to orbit. A real ship. A visitor from the stars. Instead of fear, Elena felt wonder. Humanity had always looked to the sky, asking if anyone was out there. And now the sky had answered. The approach the next evening, under the quiet glow of the moon, a small shuttle descended from orbit. It was sleek, silver, and nearly silent. It landed gently on a wide, empty plateau near Elena's observatory. Relin stepped out first. She wore a soft gray suit designed for Earth's atmosphere. The air was thick and heavy compared to her homeworld, but she breathed calmly. The smell of soil, rain, and distant trees filled her senses. It was strange and beautiful. Behind her, Crix and Vetra followed, scanning everything with fascination. The wind brushed through Vetra's feathers, making her eyes sparkle. It's so alive, she whispered. From a safe distance, Elena and her team watched, astonished. The beings didn't look threatening. They looked curious, even gentle. Relin raised one hand in greeting, the same gesture humans used for peace. Her voice, soft but steady, carried through the translator device. We mean no harm. We come to learn from you. Elena stepped forward slowly, her heart pounding. She spoke into her radio. They're speaking. It's a greeting. Then she looked up, smiled, and said aloud, Welcome to Earth. The moment. For a few seconds, no one spoke. The wind blew softly across the plateau. Then Relin smiled. The first smile between two species from different worlds. Crix whispered, She is not afraid. No, Relin said. She is welcoming us. The translator repeated her words in English, and Elena's smile widened. We've been waiting for this moment, she said. Vetra stepped forward, recording everything. They are so open, she whispered, not a trace of fear. Relin felt something deep within her and a spark of hope. I think, she said quietly, we've just met the bravest species in the galaxy. The observation report later that night back on the ship. Relin recorded her official report for the Council. Observation 356, first contact. Species human. Reaction peaceful and curious. Remark. Despite living on a death world, they show no aggression. Their response was calm, hopeful, and full of trust. Conclusion. The humans are not dangerous by nature. They are explorers, dreamers born from storms. She closed her report and looked once more toward Earth. The blue planet glowed beneath the stars, spinning endlessly. Crix joined her by the window. Do you think the Council will understand them? Relin smiled softly. One day they will, but understanding humans takes more than study. It takes heart. As dawn broke over the horizon, sunlight touched the ship's silver hull. Far below, humans looked to the sky, wondering who their new visitors were, not as enemies, but as friends. And among the stars, Relin whispered to herself, they call this world home. And now I understand why. The morning sunlight touched the mountains near Dr. Elena Vargas's observatory. The air was calm, filled with the sound of wind brushing through dry grass. For centuries, humans had looked up at the stars and wondered if someone else was out there. Now that dream had landed just beyond her research station. A few meters away, the sleek silver shuttle of the alien visitors gleamed softly in the light. It looked elegant, like a drop of liquid metal resting on the earth. The three visitors stood beside it, curious and calm. Elena's heart beat fast, but her eyes showed only calm wonder. So, they're real, she whispered to herself. We are not alone. The meeting Relin took a few slow steps forward. The translation device on her shoulder glowed softly as she spoke. Greetings, Dr. Vargas. My name is Relin Thar of the Draylan species. We come from the Galactic Union. It is an honor to meet you. Elena blinked in surprise. You know my name? Relin nodded politely. We received your signal transmissions. You lead this observatory. Your broadcast spoke of curiosity and discovery. We admire that. The words made Elena smile. Then we share something in common. Behind Relin, Crix and Vetra observed quietly. Crix used his scanning lens to study the plants, while Vetra extended one feathered hand toward the air, amazed by the scent of Earth. It smells alive, Vetra said softly. Warm and full of energy, Elena chuckled. That's our planet. Never quiet, never easy. Relin turned her gaze toward the horizon. We know. The Council classified this world as a Class 14 death world, the most dangerous kind we've ever recorded, and yet you thrive here. Elena smiled gently. We call it home. Curiosity and questions. After the initial greetings, Elena invited them to her observatory. Inside, the aliens were fascinated by everything. The machines, the books, the coffee cups, even the tiny plant on her desk. Crix pointed at a steaming mug. What is that? Elena laughed. That's coffee. It helps us stay awake. Vetra tilted her head. You drink hot liquid. For energy? Yes, Elena said proudly. We like to stay busy, Relin smiled. I believe that is your species' nature. Always awake, always moving forward. They spent hours exchanging questions. Relin explained how the Galactic Union contained hundreds of peaceful civilizations. She spoke about planets covered in crystal seas, cities floating in clouds, and knowledge shared freely among worlds. Elena listened with bright eyes. That sounds like a dream. A galaxy working together. Relin nodded softly. It wasn't easy. It took many generations. Even now there are disagreements. But peace grows slowly. When Elena asked about why the Union feared humans, Relin hesitated for a moment. Because your planet breaks every rule we know. It is full of fire, storms, and danger. They believe that to survive here, your species must be aggressive or unstable. Elena smiled sadly. We can be difficult, yes. But more than anything, we are stubborn. We survive because we refuse to stop trying. Relin studied her face. And that, Dr. Vargas, is exactly why I came here. Shared learning over the next few days, Relin and her team visited the observatory daily. Together, they exchanged science, culture, and ideas. Relin taught Elena about star routes, antimatter engines, and planetary ecosystems. Elena shared human inventions, electricity, medicine, art, and history. When Relin saw paintings hanging on the wall, she paused. These images, they are not maps or diagrams. What purpose do they serve? Elena smiled. They remind us of what we feel. They are called art. Relin looked closer. You create beauty from color. To express emotion? Yes, sometimes to share happiness. Sometimes sadness. Sometimes just to remember we are alive. Relin was silent for a long time. On my world, we lost this idea centuries ago. We created harmony but not feeling. Perhaps that is what your species still holds. The courage to feel. Later that day, Elena showed them music. She played a soft piano melody that floated through the air like sunlight on water. The aliens listened quietly. Vetra's feathers shimmered with emotion, and Crix's usual stiffness softened. When the music ended, Relin spoke quietly. Your species turns sound into meaning. You find peace in chaos. This explains much. Elena looked at her curiously. Explains what? Why you survived, Relin said gently. You don't fight the world. You dance with it. Lessons from a death world. As the visitors explored Earth, they witnessed both its beauty and danger. They saw lightning storms over oceans, deserts stretching endlessly, and volcanoes glowing in the night. But everywhere they went, humans had built homes, cities, and hope. Crix was especially amazed by the farmers. They grow food on dry land and cold mountains, he reported. Even when the ground rejects them, they try again. Relin smiled at his words. It's their nature, persistence through difficulty. They also saw children playing under the rain, laughing as thunder rolled in the distance. Relin was moved by the sight. They are not afraid, she whispered. Elena smiled beside her. They learn from an early age that storms pass, but courage stays. Later, Relin stood by the sea, watching waves crash against rocks. She turned to Elena. Your world is powerful. It shapes everything with pressure and time. Yet your people learned not to run, but to build. You became part of the storm. That's what humans do, Elena said softly. We adapt. Relin looked thoughtful. Perhaps the galaxy needs to learn that from you. A quiet connection. One evening, Relin and Elena sat outside under the night sky. The stars shone brightly and a soft wind carried the scent of earth and grass. For a while neither spoke. They simply watched the universe above them, one seeing home, the other seeing the unknown. Relin broke the silence. Do you ever feel small looking at all this? Elena smiled faintly. Yes, but small doesn't mean unimportant. Every human who looks at the stars feels wonder. That wonder drives us to explore. Relin nodded slowly. That same wonder brought me here. Crix's voice came over the communicator. Doctor, the Council requests a report. They want to know if humans are safe to contact openly. Relin looked back toward Earth's glowing horizon. Tell them, she said softly, that humanity is not only safe, they are remarkable. The Council's call. The following day, Relin recorded her message for the Galactic Council. Her voice was calm but filled with emotion. Observation 412. Human civilization is stable and advanced. They have adapted to an extreme environment not through aggression, but through creativity and cooperation. Their world shaped them into survivors, but their hearts made them dreamers. They build where others would flee. They find harmony where others see danger. The humans are not a threat. They are a lesson. That strength can be gentle and survival can be kind. When she finished, silence filled the ship. Crix looked impressed. Do you think they will listen? Relin smiled. In time. Truth always travels slowly. The promise before the aliens prepared to leave, Elena met them one last time at the observatory. She handed Relin a small object and a photograph of Earth taken from space. This, Elena said, is our home. Keep it as a reminder that even a dangerous world can grow life that dreams. Relin accepted it with great care. And you, Dr. Vargas, keep this. She gave Elena a small crystal sphere that glowed with gentle blue light. It holds a map of our union. When you are ready, follow it. They smiled at each other, two scientists from different worlds, connected by curiosity and respect. As Relin walked back to her shuttle, she turned one last time to look at the human scientist standing in the sunlight. You showed me that a death world is not a place of endings, she said softly. It is a place of beginnings, Elena waved. Come back someday, Relin smiled. We will. A new understanding as the Aurora's path rose into the sky. The humans below watched in awe. No one screamed or ran. Instead, they waved. The sight of it filled Relin's heart with quiet joy. From orbit, Earth looked smaller again, but somehow greater than before. Not a Class 14 death world, but a glowing world full of promise. Crix stood beside her. So what will you tell the Council next? Relin held up the photograph of Earth. I will tell them that we found not monsters but miracles. The stars shimmered around the ship as it moved away from the planet. Vetra watched silently, whispering to herself. They live on a world of storms, yet their hearts are calm. Maybe they were never the ones to fear. And as the Aurora's path disappeared into the dark, Earth continued to spin below. A bright blue home for the most unexpected heroes in the galaxy. The Galactic Council chamber was one of the most beautiful places in the galaxy. Its tall glass walls shimmered like liquid light, and the view of stars beyond gave the feeling that the entire universe was watching. Every species had a seat. Insectoids, energy beings, reptiles, plant-like creatures, all gathered to discuss one topic that had shaken the galaxy. That topic was Earth. The moment Relin walked into the chamber, hundreds of eyes turned toward her. Some eyes were round and wide, others glowed, and some didn't look like eyes at all. But all of them carried the same feeling, fear and curiosity. She took a deep breath. This was her first time standing before the entire council. She had never imagined that her small research mission would bring her here. The discovery of humans had become the biggest event in recent galactic history. The council speaker, a tall, elegant being made of shimmering mist, raised a glowing hand. Researcher Relin, the speaker began softly, you and your team made first contact with the inhabitants of the Class 14 Death World. Please share your findings. Relin nodded and stepped forward. She placed her small translator on the podium. Her voice, calm but strong, echoed through the chamber. Thank you, Speaker. My findings are simple but important. The species living on that world call themselves humans. They are not only surviving on their planet, they are thriving. They build cities, travel to space, and create technologies far beyond what we expected from Deathworlders. A wave of whispers spread across the chamber. Some of the alien delegates murmured in disbelief. Others looked uneasy. Relin continued. We have studied their world carefully. The environment is extremely dangerous. Storms, volcanoes, shifting climates, predators, diseases. Yet they adapted to all of it. Not by running away, but by learning and growing stronger. Their strength is not only physical. It is in their minds, in their hearts. One of the delegates, a gray-scaled reptilian being named Thrax, stood up. His deep voice rumbled through the hall. Are you suggesting that we welcome a DEATHWORLD species into the Union? That would be madness. Their world shapes them to fight, not to cooperate. Several members nodded in agreement. Another delegate added, they evolved among violence and danger. What happens when they bring that nature into space? What if they spread chaos? Relin looked around the room. She could feel the fear in their words, but also misunderstanding. Humans were not perfect. Even Relin knew that. But what she had seen on Earth had changed her completely. She took a deep breath. With respect, counselors, you are judging them by fear, not by truth. I lived among them for weeks. Yes, they come from a dangerous planet, but they are not dangerous because of it. They are kind, curious, and hopeful. Their history is filled with mistakes, yes, but also with progress and compassion. They help each other even when it costs them everything. She remembered the human scientist, Dr. Elena Vargas, and how warmly she had welcomed Relin to her lab. She remembered how humans smiled even when facing harsh storms, how they shared food and laughter with strangers. They are not shaped by destruction, Relin said, her voice firmer now. They are shaped by endurance. Their world tested them, and instead of breaking, they learned how to heal. The speaker leaned forward, intrigued. And what do they seek from us? Not control, Relin answered. Not power. They seek knowledge. They want to learn about the stars, to share ideas, to connect. Their scientists dream of peace between species. They are not asking to rule. They are asking to belong. A tall, crystalline being, Ambassador Soral, raised a transparent hand. Relin, you say they are peaceful, yet their world is full of weapons and conflicts. Many of our historians have studied their transmissions. How do you explain that? Relin hesitated for a moment. Yes, she admitted softly. They have conflicts. They struggle with fear and mistakes like any young species. But unlike most, they learn. Each time they fall, they rise stronger. Each time they fight, they build peace again. You see, they are not perfect, but they never give up. That is what makes them different. Silence filled the chamber. The council speaker looked thoughtful, but many faces still showed doubt. Then, unexpectedly, a soft voice came from the side. It was Ambassador Kalen, a wise elder from the peaceful world of Oris. I have read the report, Kalen said. I saw how humans plant trees where fires once burned, and how they build hospitals in the ruins of their storms. They are builders, not destroyers. Perhaps instead of fearing them, we should learn from them. The hall grew quiet. A new feeling spread, curiosity instead of fear. Thrax frowned. Or they might simply wait to grow strong enough to threaten us. You would risk the safety of the galaxy for a hopeful story. Relin looked directly at him. Counselor Thrax, every species here once struggled to survive. Your world had endless deserts, yet your people learned to grow food from stone. Did the council fear you when you asked for help? No, they welcomed you. Should we not do the same for the humans? Her words echoed through the chamber, clear and honest. The speaker nodded slowly. You make a fair point, researcher. But this is a serious matter. If humans join the Union, they will influence every world they touch. We must decide carefully. Relin bowed her head. I understand, speaker. But I believe that influence will be one of hope, not harm. The speaker looked around the room. Then let us proceed to discussion. For the next several hours, the council debated. Voices rose and fell. Some species argued for caution, others for trust. Relin watched silently, her heart heavy with worry but also hope. From her seat, she could see the stars through the glass ceiling. Somewhere out there, humans were watching the same stars, perhaps wondering if they were being judged by distant beings they had just met. When the debate finally ended, the speaker stood once again. This matter cannot be decided today, the speaker said. We will form an observation alliance. A small number of humans will be allowed to visit our worlds peacefully. We shall see their nature for ourselves. Only then will we decide on full membership. It was not the victory Relin hoped for, but it was not a loss either. It was a beginning. She nodded respectfully. Thank you, speaker. The humans will not disappoint you. As the meeting ended, Relin stepped out into the bright corridor. The stars shone outside like tiny fires. She felt both relief and exhaustion. Kalen approached her, smiling gently. "You spoke from your heart, Relin. That matters more than any data report. Do you really think they'll listen?" Relin asked quietly. Kalen looked out at the stars. "Perhaps not today, but the truth has a way of growing, and the truth about humans is too powerful to ignore." Relin smiled softly. They called their world home even when it tried to break them. "Maybe one day the galaxy will call them family." The elder nodded. "Maybe it already has." Relin gazed at the glowing blue planet displayed on the holographic screen nearby. EarthY, the Class 14 death world that refused to die. In her heart, she knew this was only the beginning of something greater, not just for humans, but for every species in the stars. Because if humanity could survive the deadliest world in the galaxy and still choose kindness, then perhaps there was hope for them all. The Galactic Union had never seen a planet like Earth. Even after the initial debates and cautious observation, the Council could not deny the truth any longer. Humans were not just surviving a Class 14 death world, they were thriving, dreaming and reaching for the stars. Months after Relin's first report, the Council approved a limited program. Select humans could visit other Union worlds for peaceful exchange, learning, and cooperation. At the same time, a small team of alien scientists led by Relin would continue studying Earth up close to ensure the humans' adaptation methods could be shared across the galaxy. Preparations for first contact back on Earth. Dr. Elena Vargas and her team received the official invitation from the Galactic Union. It was carefully worded, full of respect and hope. Humanity was about to step into the wider galaxy for the first time. Elena gathered her colleagues. "We've always dreamed of the stars," she said, her voice steady and proud. "Now, we get to walk among them, not as observers but as ambassadors." Children in nearby cities gazed up at the night sky, unaware of the first shuttles that would carry humans beyond their world. Families in deserts, mountains, and forests shared stories of past storms and challenges, telling young ones that if humans could survive Earth, they could survive anything. Relin's team returned to orbit to prepare for the formal meeting. As they approached the planet, the blue and green of Earth shimmered in sunlight, alive with the energy of a thriving species. Relin's eyes softened. She had watched this planet for months, but it never failed to amaze her. "They call this a Class 14 death world," Crix whispered. "And yet it is more alive than almost any planet in the Union," Relin smiled. "Danger shaped them, yes, but courage and hope made them home." The first human delegation. The first group of humans selected for interstellar travel arrived at the Union's central station in orbit. They were scientists, artists, engineers, and teachers, a representation of the human spirit, not its weapons. The aliens who met them were nervous at first. Some expected aggression, some worried about unpredictability, but when the humans stepped forward, smiling and speaking with curiosity and warmth, the fear began to fade. Elena led her team. She stepped forward to greet the Galactic Council with the same calm curiosity she had shown Relin. "We come in friendship," she said simply. "We want to learn, share, and grow together." The Council observed closely, noting the humans' manners, gestures, and tone. The aliens were struck by how naturally the humans adapted to the new environment, how they asked questions not with challenge but with respect. Relin watched proudly. "They are exactly as I said," she whispered. "Not aggressive, not reckless, just human, sharing knowledge and culture." The humans quickly began to demonstrate what had allowed them to thrive on Earth. They shared agricultural methods to cultivate difficult soils, ways to manage extreme climates, and strategies for cooperation under pressure. They also shared art, music, and stories. The Galactic Union had knowledge of countless worlds, but humans had something different. Emotion and imagination intertwined with intelligence. Alien species began to understand that humans were more than survivors. They were creators. One alien delegate, Ambassador Soral, said softly after watching a human orchestra perform, "They do not simply build to survive. They build to feel, to connect." Elena nodded. "Yes, on Earth, every storm, every challenge, every failure taught us something. We built not only tools, but hope," Relin added, "and that is the most important lesson any species can teach. The courage to continue, even when all odds are against you. The Union changes perspective. As humans continued interacting with the Council and other species, attitudes shifted. The fear that had once dominated discussions of Earth began to fade. Other worlds saw how humans approached challenges, with curiosity, creativity, and a sense of responsibility. A new understanding grew. The Class 14 Death World was not a warning, but a symbol. If humans could thrive there, if they could turn chaos into opportunity, then perhaps the galaxy could learn from them. Even the skeptics softened. Thrax, the reptilian delegate who had argued for fear, approached Relin privately. I underestimated them, he admitted. I thought their world would make them dangerous. But their world made them wise. Not perfect, but remarkable, Relin nodded. Exactly. They are not perfect, but they are extraordinary in the ways that matter. Earth becomes a center of learning with the Council's approval. Earth began receiving alien visitors. Species that had never left their home planets came to study humans and Earth's unique ecosystem. Schools and research centers were built jointly, combining human methods with advanced Union technology. Children and students from different planets learned alongside each other, sharing languages, games, and inventions. Humans taught patience, resilience, and the importance of community. In return, aliens shared knowledge of the stars, of distant worlds, and of technologies that humans had only imagined. Relin watched one of these classrooms, her heart swelling. A young human girl showed a Draylan student how to plant crops in sandy soil, while a Crixian engineer admired the human-made irrigation system. They teach without pride, Vetra whispered. And yet their lessons are profound. They understand, Relin replied softly. Strength is not about domination. It is about nurturing, learning, and hope. The first Interstellar Academy months later. The first Interstellar Academy opened on Earth. Its purpose was simple: teach, share, and connect species from across the galaxy. Humans and aliens would study together, explore together, and prepare for the challenges of the stars. The Academy was a symbol of unity and trust. Its towers glistened like crystals in the sun, its classrooms filled with laughter, music, and conversation. Every species was welcome, and every species was eager to learn from humans, not only because of their survival skills, but because of their courage, creativity, and empathy. Relin stood at the main plaza, watching as students of every species mingled. Humans ran programs that taught empathy and problem-solving. They taught how to work with difficult environments, how to collaborate, and how to turn mistakes into lessons. Elena walked beside Relin, smiling. They are thriving, she said softly. Even here, away from home. They always will, Relin said. Humans do not give up. The final reflection. That evening, Relin returned to orbit aboard the Aurora's path. She gazed down at Earth, the first death world to be fully understood by the galaxy. From space, the planet glowed with life, cities, forests, oceans, and lights of all kinds. She thought of the council debates, of the fear and doubt, and of the humans who had changed the galaxy simply by being themselves. They call this place home, she whispered, a planet that should have ended them. And yet, it made them who they are. Perhaps all worlds could learn from Earth not as a death world, but as a teacher world. Crix hovered beside her. Do you think the galaxy will ever understand them fully? Relin smiled, her eyes reflecting the blue-green of Earth. Understanding takes time, but admiration, that begins immediately, and the galaxy is beginning to admire humans now. A world united back on Earth, under the bright sun and glowing cities. Humans continued their daily lives. Children laughed while learning in interstellar classrooms. Scientists built machines to study distant stars. Farmers experimented with new techniques shared by alien visitors. Artists painted, musicians played, and people everywhere shared ideas and stories. Somewhere in the mountains, Elena stood with her students looking up at the sky. We always dreamed of the stars, she said. Now we walk among them. Far above, Relin watched from orbit. The blue planet shimmered, alive and vibrant. She thought of every storm, every challenge, every trial humans had faced, and she realized that humanity had done something more than survive. They had become a beacon for the galaxy. Earth, she said softly, is not just home for humans. It is a guide for the stars. And as the sun set across the oceans, forests, and cities, a new chapter began. Humanity and the galaxy would explore, learn, and grow together. that Class 14 DEATHWORLD was no longer a warning. It was a symbol of hope, courage, and the extraordinary power of life that refuses to give up. And humans just called it home.